Hey friends, have you ever heard a story of a phoenix? Not the myth, but a real one. A story written not in fire, but in steel, grit, and national pride. A story that survived wars, oppression, bankruptcy, and rose from the ashes, stronger than ever. This isn't a fairy tale. This is the story of a gun. But not just any gun. This is the tale of the Polish VIS 100. A pistol that carries the entire turbulent 20th century of Poland in its design. If you're ready for a journey through history, through factory halls and battlefields, through economic collapse and triumphant rebirth, stick with me. This is going to be a deep dive. And by the way, if you love these stories where engineering meets destiny, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Let me know in the comments right now. What's a legendary firearm you think has an untold story? Your suggestions fuel this channel. Now let's begin. The birth of an arsenal. Radom, 1922. Imagine Europe after the Great War. The map has been redrawn. Poland, after 123 years of being erased from the map, is back. A newborn state breathing the air of independence for the first time in generations. But this freedom is fragile. Sandwiched between a resurgent Germany and the vast, revolutionary Soviet Russia, Poland knows one thing for certain. To be truly independent, you must be able to defend yourself. You cannot rely on the goodwill of others for your weapons. So, in the city of Radom in 1922, a decision is made. A state-owned armory is founded. This isn't just opening a factory. It's laying the cornerstone of national sovereignty. A few years later, it's reorganized into the famous Fabryka Broni, the weapons factory. By the 1930s, it becomes the heart of Polish military might. It is the sole producer of Mauser rifles and carbines for the Polish army. Every soldier standing guard on the borders of the Second Polish Republic holds a piece of Radom in his hands. The factory isn't just a business. It's a national institution, a symbol of self-reliance. Darkness and eclipse, war and liberation. Then, 1939. The sky darkens with Stukas. The Blitzkrieg. Poland becomes the first battlefield of World War II, fighting a heroic, doomed war on two fronts. The Radom factory, this jewel of Polish industry, is a prime target. The Nazis seize it. And here comes a bitter, painful twist. The machines that were built to defend Poland are now forced to churn out weapons for its occupiers. Can you imagine the morale of the workers? Forced to arm your own oppressor. But even in darkness, there is resistance. Acts of sabotage. Accidental production flaws. Slowing down the lines. It was a silent, dangerous war within the war. The liberation in 1945 didn't bring back the old Poland. It brought a new reality. A satellite state within the Soviet sphere. And the Radom factory? It was rebuilt, yes, but its soul was redirected. No more unique Polish designs. Now, it was a cog in the vast, standardized machine of the Warsaw Pact. It produced copies of Soviet Tokarev pistols, then Kalashnikov rifles. The genius of Polish engineers was funneled into replicating someone else's blueprints. For decades, the name Radom was associated with sturdy, reliable, but utterly unoriginal Eastern Bloc weaponry. The spirit of innovation from the 1930s seemed lost, perhaps forever. The abyss, the collapse, and the ghost town. The year is 1989. The Berlin Wall falls. The Iron Curtain is torn aside. Freedom. But with that freedom came a brutal, unforgiving economic shock therapy. State-owned giants, built for a planned economy, suddenly found themselves in a capitalist wilderness with no orders, no market, and monstrous inefficiencies. The defense industry was hit hardest. The huge Soviet-style army shrank. The budget vanished. And the Radom factory, this legendary place, was declared bankrupt. The gates closed.
Machine worth millions stood silent.
Skilled engineers and gunsmiths, the custodians of a century-old craft, were out on the street. It was more than a business failure. It felt like a final, humiliating end to a glorious tradition. The Phoenix wasn't just wounded. It was cold, buried in the ashes of history. I've read accounts from that time. The sense of despair in the city of Radom was palpable. It was the end of an era, Rebirth, Luxnik rises again. But Poles are a stubborn people. They have a history of rising from the dead. The idea that Radom could be gone forever was unacceptable. And so, on a symbolic date of the 14th of July, in the year 2000, a miracle happened. The factory was reborn, not as a solitary entity, but as part of a new national project, the Polska Grupa Zbrojeniowa, PGZ, the Polish Armaments Group. This was a strategic masterstroke. Instead of one struggling factory, Poland consolidated nearly 30 defense companies under one state-owned holding. It created scale, shared resources, and a clear mission to rebuild a sovereign, modern defense industry for a NATO member. The Radom plant was given a proud new old name, Fabryka Broni Luxnik Radom, the Archer Weapons Factory, and it was given a mission: create the new standard sidearm for the Polish army. This was the ultimate test. Could they move from copying to creating? The problem child and the clean sheet. The army's need was urgent. The pistol they had been using since the late 90s, the WIST-94, had performed poorly in the deserts of Iraq and the mountains of Afghanistan. In combat, reliability is everything. A jammed pistol isn't an inconvenience. It's a death sentence. The Polish soldiers serving alongside American and British allies deserved better. Initially, there was talk of just modifying an existing police pistol. But the engineers at the new Radom looked at the problem and said, "No, half measures won't do. We need a clean sheet design. A pistol for the next 50 years. In 2009, the project began. Took 8 years. 8 years of prototyping, testing, feedback from Special Forces units, redesigning. Finally, in 2017, it passed military trials. It was adopted as the PR-15 Reagan. And then, in 2019, the Army placed a colossal order, 19,900 units. And with that order came a new, powerful name, VIS 100. The choice of the name VIS, Latin for force, was a thunderous statement. It directly evoked the legendary VIS 35 pistol of the interwar period, considered one of the finest military pistols ever made. It was a message. We are connecting with our glorious past. We are reclaiming our standard of excellence. A deep dive, the VIS 100 M1 in my hands. Now let's talk about the gun itself. I'm looking at the civilian version, the VIS 100 M1. The first thing that strikes you is its personality. In an era of identical, angular, polymer-framed combat Tupperware, the VIS stands out. It has a classic, almost aristocratic posture. The lines are clean, the metal is exposed, and it bears an unmistakable, respectful resemblance to the iconic all-metal Wonder 9s of the 1980s and 90s, like certain Smith & Wesson third-generation models. This is no accident. This is a philosophical choice. While the world rushed to striker-fired polymers, the Polish engineers chose a path of proven, hammer-fired, metal-framed reliability. Let's break down why this matters. The frame and feel. The frame is aluminum alloy, light but solid, with hardened steel rails for the slide to glide on. The grip is simply phenomenal. It comes with 2 sets of side panels, slim and thick, so you can tailor it to your hand. The texture is aggressive, it's checkered in all the right places. This pistol locks into your palm. It feels like an extension of your will. And under the barrel, it has a universal Picatinny rail, meeting the Stanag 4694 standard, 4 lights and lasers. It's a modern warrior in a classic suit. The controls and soul. Every control is ambidextrous. The slide release, the safety, the magazine release, everything works flawlessly for lefties. This is a detail that shows deep thought for real-world use. And the heart of it all, the trigger. It's a traditional double-action / single-action hammer system. You can carry it safely with the hammer down, and your first, longer, heavier pull cocks and fires it. Or you can manually cock it for a short, light, single-action pull. The one I tested broke at around 2,480 grams in single action and 5,095 in double action. The pull is smooth with a clear wall before a clean break. This is a trigger for a disciplined shooter, one that rewards skill. The modern brain on a classic body. Here's where the past meets the future. The steel slide is cut from the factory for a red dot sight, and not with a mess of adapter plates. They engineered one brilliant universal plate with a matrix of holes and pins. This one plate lets you mount optics from Burris, Doctor, Vortex, Shield, almost anyone. This sheer genius in its simplicity. If you're not using a dot, a low-profile cover plate sits flush. And the iron sights are fantastic. A red fiber optic front and 2 green fiber optic dots in the rear, adjustable for windage. They glow like beacons in low light. The proof is on the paper and at the range. A beautiful gun is one thing, but how does it shoot? This is where legends are cemented. For our test, we mounted a Bushnell RXC200 optic, zeroed it with a laser bore sight, and headed to the 15-meter line. We fed it a diet of different 9mm rounds, light 115 grain, standard 124 grain, and heavy 140 grain loads. Shooting from a supported sandbag rest, the VIS 100 consistently printed groups. The average? Around 40 millimeters. That's excellent combat accuracy. The best performance came from 115 grain expanding rounds, tightening groups to just 30 millimeters. That is borderline target grade precision from a duty pistol. But the real test was dynamic. We ran drills, the fast-paced build drill, failure drills. We put over 300 rounds downrange without a single cleaning. And the result? Not one malfunction, not a single failure to feed, fire, or eject. The pistol ran with the monotonous, reassuring reliability of a Swiss watch. The ergonomics shined here. The natural point of aim is intuitive, the recoil is soft and straight back into the hand thanks to the weight and grip angle. You can shoot this gun fast and you can shoot it accurately. It inspires confidence. More than metal, a symbol forged in history. So what are we left with? The VIS 100 is not merely a tool. It is a symbol of Poland's incredible journey in the 20th and 21st centuries. From the proud independence of the interwar years, through the dual hell of Nazi occupation and Soviet domination, through the economic chaos of the 90s, to its current place as a confident, sovereign NATO member with its own cutting-edge industry. It makes a statement. We remember our past, we learn from it, and we build our own future. Yes, at around 1,119 euros in Germany, it's more expensive than a Glock or a SIG P320. It's a niche product in a world dominated by polymer striker-fired guns. This commercial success might be uncertain, but that's almost beside the point. This pistol was built to answer a national calling, to rearm the Polish soldier with a weapon of pride and proven reliability. It marries the conservative, battle-tested virtues of a metal frame and a hammer-fired system with utterly modern modularity and optic readiness. It is, in every sense, a phoenix, reforged in the fires of history, tested by time, and born to fly. What do you think? In an age of globalized supply chains, does a national, indigenous design like this still matter? Or is it a nostalgic luxury? Is there a place for classic metal frames and hammers in a polymer striker-fired world? The debate starts in the comments below. I read every single one. Let's get a conversation going. And if the story of resilience, engineering, and history resonated with you, if you want to explore more tales where a firearm tells the story of a nation, then your support means everything. Please, take a second to subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive. Tells me you want more content like this, because behind every gun, there is a human story. A story of triumph, failure, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. This was the story of the VIS 100. From Poland, with love, and with an unbreakable spirit.